Everybody's cool. Long Range Tactics. We're here again in the booth, Utah Airguns booth, Hunt Expo 2025. I've got my buddy Karston here from Boring Rifles, SARV Machine. He's kind of come up with a lot of new cool shit that no one's really seen before. He's kind of put his wizarding brain together. And I wanted to show you guys some of the stuff he's come up with and kind of talk about, his path in precision rifle building and everything else he's going. How you doing, brother?
Hanging in there, man.
I forgot you can't shake. He decided to wreck his dirt bike and put his peg through his side, so I'm sure that feels good.
Yeah. No, that's never fun, but
no,
we're still here.
Barely.
Yeah.
Sounds to me like you tried to kill yourself.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
Trying to do some Pastrana shit and it didn't work out.
Yeah, I'm getting too old for it.
Aren't we all? You going to sell them, or you still going to keep your bikes?
No, I got to keep them. I can't give up that easy.
You invested freaking money into them.
Yeah.
So he's got some cool new stuff. This chassis system is one of them that I is kind of one of those out of the box things. You've seen 100 other guys come up with a stock, and this is just completely freaking different. It's got a chassis centerpiece, and then you can integrate and change out the other pieces. Tell us about what your brainchild with this is.
Yeah, so I wanted to create a 100% modular stock / chassis. And with that, everybody loves a chassis, having that, to some point or another, metal center section,
right,
in order for your action and everything, get away from bedding, pillars, all of that type of stuff. And so I took that approach to it, but the ultimate goal here is having multiple different rear ends, multiple different fore ends available to fit any type of shooting scenario or style. And then with that, the customer, they're able to swap those out. We'll be doing a solid aluminum rear as well as front, multiple different carbon fiber sections, things like that. I wanted to make sure that we integrated a ARCA rail back there as close to center mass as possible. We also got 4 titanium flush cups on it. Standard M5 inlet for both the short and the long, for Remington clones. And I'm pretty excited about it. I've worked the past 2.5 years on research and development and prototyping and everything else, and right now it's looking like we're going to be shipping first orders end of March, beginning of April. So we're getting really good feedback on it. Tons and tons of people are loving it, and it's been a process, but I'm happy with it. It's
freaking different. I mean, that's the big thing. You guys that are going to watch on YouTube and stuff, and I'll try to put it up on the Instagram and stuff. But so how much harder was it to do, like, if you were to integrate the trigger guard and all that stuff, just make it all integral?
Yeah, so there's a couple of issues when it comes to doing the integrated trigger guard / bottom metal, right? The biggest thing is, from the manufacturing standpoint, is if that trigger guard's out to here, you just cut off all of that in just absolute excess waste. And so with that was one of my motivations behind doing an inlet. It saves a ton of machine time and as well as money, obviously.
That translates to better prices for the consumer anyway.
Exactly. The other reason is, again, going with that modular vibe. Obviously we do our own bottom metal and stuff, but that doesn't mean that everybody likes it. And so I wanted, people to have that option of running their favorite bottom metal or magazine combo versus being stuck with whatever. So that's the main motivation behind doing an inlet versus the integrated trigger guard and stuff.
Okay, and the big question I know I'm going to get asked, what's the price tag on it?
So right now we're doing a pre-sale. The pre-sale's $900. That also includes one of our bottom metal and one magazine. Once the pre-sale's over, the retail price is going to be set at $1,350.
Okay, and you do have butt pads, or just
yeah. No, we just finished injecting our recoil pads last week. So
okay, yeah, and it's I mean, it's one of those that doesn't sound like it's a hollow freaking. Some of those stocks, you know, you get like this, they sound hollow as hell.
Yeah, no, we do a high density foam inside of them, so that way they don't sound like a tin can. And what else? And as far as the weight goes, average, it's right there around 29 ounces.
So it's still super light, even with the metal.
Yeah.
You know, that the ends make up for that. What else you got?
I got two of my new titanium brakes. I did a good old fashioned 2-port, as well as I had a lot of people request a single port.
Short.
So yeah, these have been super popular. Doing these in 6.5, 7, as well as 30 cal, but we can obviously, you know, always custom bore it out for whatever you're after in that aspect.
Yeah, you do a lot of. There's a lot of accessories you're starting to push out, and we kind of talked about that, like going from the precision rifle build type shit, you know, that everybody seems to want to do, but not everybody can do well, you know. And you're also following it up with, you know, good aftermarket parts, and then it looks like you got some rings as well.
Yeah, I brought a set of our new HSR Helldiver rings, using a clamp system. That way you got, you know, center, you got pressure on both sides. That way, as you're torquing it down, you're not bouncing between, you know, 4 top screws and, you know, slanting the scope one way or another. Obviously, I got to have a bubble level on there, you know, as well as anybody. But in order to, you know, maintain the accuracy and everything else, I chose to do the bubble level as integrated in. And so that's all cut right in the same block of material.
Okay. Yeah, so it's not going to come out then.
No.
A lot of them, they try to glue in or clip in or whatever else, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah, so those are fully cut straight into the same block as the base. Yeah, they've been a hit. They work really well, and been really happy with them. Weight's roughly right around 3 ounces. Price point is $169.99. And then also with all of the parts that I design and manufacture, I also do a lifetime warranty. Whether, you know, that's their bad, my bad, you know, whatever. I've always had that attitude. If you're going to design something and you're going to make it, you better stand behind it.
Right.
And that's my biggest thing.
Yeah, I hear that a lot from people. Like, man, I bought this, and then they just told me to go to hell because I bought it. Now it's my problem, type thing.
Yeah.
I think, you know, we talked to Seekins this morning about stuff like that, about how you handle your customer service. And that is a huge thing. Like, even if I screwed up, even if you screwed up, it's still handled. You know, Vortex and a lot of companies have that same. And they sell a lot of stuff. And I think, you know, in the same aspect, you're going to sell that. And now you've started doing bottom metals. You do flush fit, so it's kind of like a hunter style magazine. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we do our bottom metals, short and long. With that, it's standard M5 inlet, doing it out of 6061, as well as Type 3 anodized. As far as the magazines go, I do an aluminum bottom plate, and then the body, it's actually it's injected, but it's a mixture of polymer as well as carbon fiber.
Okay.
And so with that, it, you know, stays lightweight, keeps the manufacturing costs down, which again, at the end of the day, that's also transferred onto the customers.
Right. And that is one thing that I noticed about them. They aren't clanky like a lot of them. You know, the metal ones do get a little bit clanky sometimes. You know, so the bottom part is, you know, and I know that you've kind of gone through a few processes to make them more rigid. Everything seems to be feeding better, the stuff like that. What do those run for bottom metal and mag?
So the bottom metal, let's see, going off the top of my head, the bottom metal, you're looking right around the 175 area. And then as far as the magazines go, the magazines are depending, but roughly 65 to 70 bucks.
Oh, yeah, So most people, that's right in there, if not a little bit less than some of your competitors.
Yeah.
And then, so you also own a rifle company, Boring Rifles.
Yeah.
Right. So what is your, like, take us through, if somebody's looking for a rifle, take us through your rifle setup. Like, what sets you apart than some? Like, we've walked around, we've talked about this.
Oh yeah.
There's a whole bunch of different rifle builders here, and no one knows what the difference is. What are you doing that sets you apart?
Yeah, I think especially nowadays, as well as being at shows, the number one question is, well, what makes your gun better than that guy's gun?
Right.
And the truth of the fact is, man, there are tons and tons of people that build a phenomenal rifle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's all that there is to it. And there's not anything that necessarily says that mine's better than this guy's or vice versa or anything else. In my opinion, I think it all comes back to the customer service, the way you talk to people, the way you treat people, the way I had a guy once tell me, he said, you drop the ball, but it's not about how you drop the ball, it's about how you pick the ball back up.
Mm-hmm.
And, I try to focus on, treating people the way that I would like to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is, man, is as I'm, building their rifle, I always like to take pictures, text them over to them, I mean, hey, it's exciting, man. Everybody loves a new gun,
Right.
So,
Right.
so yeah, a lot of that is customer service, focused.
And it's not like they're cheap rifles. It's an investment. We all know, like, we have rifles that were handed down to us.
Sure.
So we know it's a long-term thing. And to make that, kind of unique to that person is everything too. Because I know that you take a lot of pride in, like, making every rifle unique, like different paint jobs on everyone, which is a lot of work.
It is.
It's hard. Most of these rifles, like, you pick 4 colors and that's what you get type thing.
Right.
And that's kind of what you've done different, right?
Yeah, and that's originally what really got me that start and got me out there was, I was doing the bold, bright colors and the stuff like that. And at the end of the day, if a guy wanted bright gold and purple, I mean, hey, let's do it, man.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing that says a gun has to be this color or that color.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe in showing that uniqueness and that personality off.
Yeah, a lot of people, they'll walk into a sporting goods store and they'll look at the shelf and like, man, every freaking one of those rifles looks the same. What's different in it? And I mean, that's a lot of things. We've talked about, a lot of these companies now, they're buying a pre-fit and they're buying a action, screwing it together and call it a custom rifle.
Right.
Where you own the machinery, you're sitting there, you're doing one by one each yourself. You don't got an assembly line putting them together, and I think that's kind of what sets you apart too, right?
Yeah. No, it's all to me. It's all about that hand fit. It's all about checking all those boxes. I'm a one-man shop. I design my parts, manufacture my parts, and it does get tiring. But with that, I've always had that attitude, when it comes down to your livelihood, that's when you get a quality product.
Right. And you give a shit about it. There's a lot of people that get into it and they just, they see a little bit of money. I mean, here's the thing. We all know this isn't necessarily the industry to get into if you're going to want to be a wealthy millionaire.
Yeah,
that's
the truth.
There's only a few companies in this industry that make a lot of freaking money every year. And the rest of us, we just make a living.
That's
what I mean?
it. Yeah.
And to your point, like, if you don't take care of customers, as big as social media is now, people know about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. The voice is bigger now than ever.
Right. Everybody's got a thing to stand on, even if you're wrong a lot of times, or even if you're right a lot of times, they still catch you on that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we've been called out 100 times, like, they did this, and this. Like, no, we didn't. But you know what? Let's look at this and see how we can make this better.
Right.
Thing. And I think that's what sets a lot of the smaller shops together.
Yeah.
Or apart. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, without a doubt, man. When it comes down to your livelihood and stuff, again, I like to be the guy in charge of knowing what's going out my door.
Right. So on your rifle setups, kind of what are you building out? Like what kind of actions using? What are you building?
Yeah. So, my market is really that lightweight hunting area. I mean, I love to build a big old fat heavy bench gun. I really do. But unfortunately those don't pay my bills.
Right.
And so as far as actions go, we use a lot of Kelblies, do a lot of their Nanooks, things of that nature. And Yeah, that's kind of the bread and butter for us. But we do use different actions from time to time. I won't necessarily announce who they are or whatever, but there is a new action that I'm pretty excited to get my hands on. And there's lots of exciting things. So.
Yeah, that's the thing, is there's a lot of growth, a lot of different changes. You know, I've had quite a few people in here today just talking about the things that they're coming up with, and that's the thing, is you've got to be looking 4 steps ahead. It's like chess, you know, trying to stay ahead, because eventually the other thing, you know, I've talked about with my guys is like, you're going to get copied. As soon as you do it, somebody's going to buy one that you don't know, and they're going to freaking figure out how to build it and copy it.
Right.
So then you've got to try and stay 2 steps ahead of that, which is always a struggle.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Kudos to you. I mean, this is different.
I appreciate it.
This
man.
is something that no one's come out with yet, that we kind of knew somebody should, but it had to have been somebody that was kind of smaller, in my opinion, that had the time and the resources to really dig deep into it.
Sure.
And, you know, you get into these big companies. I talked to it about, you know, I can't remember. It was one of the earlier episodes of, it takes sometimes 2-3 years to put something, you know, into effect or into it, and they're way behind. So to be able to put something out in front of everybody's big.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. It's definitely been a journey. It's been a process, but yeah, we're just about ready to start sending them out the door. So,
and these come in long and short.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
all right, where does everybody find you?
You can check us out at boringrifles.com, as well as on Instagram. It's at Boring Rifles. As far as the SARV machine, we're still in the middle of getting that website all launched, but it will be sarvmachine.com. But we are also on Instagram under the at SARV machine.
Okay. All right. Well, go check them out. You know, you might find something you need. They got a lot of accessories. There's a lot of cool stuff. They have some pick rails that we didn't show you. They have some space rails. There's a bunch of other stuff that they've got. So go check them out. I'm sure there's something there that you need for your hunting rifle or whatever. I mean, they can even cross over to a competition rifle.
Sure.
But I appreciate you stopping by. Again, boringrifles.com, and good luck, man. I hope to see some of these out in the wild soon.
Yeah, no, likewise, man. So thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.